Nothing wrong with heroin addicts.
I'm not even going to comment. Not even going to comment. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Why Aren't You Famous podcast with me, Ellen Cherry, and your other host,
Andrew Grimm.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good.
That's good.
How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good. Feeling accountable today?
I am feeling so accountable. Oh, my goodness.
You even did your taxes on Friday.
I did. And that has something to do with my essay.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you decided to go ahead and fund this sham of a government. I'm just going to say it. Just going to put it out there.
Well,
I'm just joking. You're being responsible.
well, but part of the problem, or part of the, well, it is part of the problem, but also I believe in taxes. I believe in
them too.
I believe in community and contributing and my fair share to what has to happen. I don't necessarily agree with
Pulling a hair off of your microphone because it's like right in front of your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Okay, now.
Yeah,
Now I can see clearly.
Yeah. Now that hair is gone. Yeah, whatever. Taxes, yes. So, yeah, no, I think that I disagree that a lot of my money is going towards building weapons of mass destruction.
No.
And then some people are siphoning off that money to do whatever they want with, fuel cocaine binges or hide illicit affairs with Playboy models or adult entertainers.
Wait, was he using tax money for that?
No, I'm sure somebody is.
No, I mean any system that involves human beings is likely going to have both people who are interested in preserving the social contract of law and other people who are willing to abuse it egregiously.
Yes.
So we have to sort of mitigate for those circumstances. Anyway, this is a heady topic we've headed into.
Jeez.
I have not filed my taxes yet, but I will.
Uh-huh.
Because I also believe in taxes, and even though I am child-free, I definitely want there to continue to be public education, public libraries, public services.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a recipient of Medicaid and have been for several years.
Oh, I qualify for Medicaid now.
Yay!
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome to the fold.
Sweet.
I would like to give a shout out to my Medicaid provider, Kaiser Permanente, my MCO, because I had a different one last year, and it was a little bit of a scary experience, and I did not want to go and actually actively pursue a healthcare plan with my caregiver because I didn't actually feel safe in the location. And then this year has been completely different. I feel like I'm in a well-run organization, so
wow,
it's nice. Cool. Yeah, it actually makes me think, I want to go see my doctor and find out what's going on with my body so that I can be healthy. Which is what a concept.
Yeah.
What a concept for a person actively pursuing preventative health care.
Yeah. Instead of defensive healthcare or whatever.
Yeah, emergency healthcare, like just waiting until I get so sick with something that I, can't see inside my own body, and then going to the emergency room to get emergency care when it's much easier to do. Anyway, so accountability. That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. When was the first time you ever felt accountable for something?
Ooh. The first time I felt accountable. Well, what is your definition of accountable? What is the definition of accountable?
Oh, well, I'm operating on the assumption that accountability is a personal responsibility that you have.
Okay, personally responsible.
That you're being held accountable for something. So when you account it, you have to add it up, and therefore we assign a weight or a value to it then.
Yeah. Man, the first time I felt accountable that I remember, I'm sure I felt accountable for things as a child. I don't know. I would have to think about that. Probably sometime in my teenage years when I was beginning my wokeness.
Oh.
I remember protesting the first Gulf War in high school and having conversations about that. And I don't know if that makes me accountable though. Something I felt personally responsible for. I don't know. What about you? Let me flip it back because I feel like I'm not able to think of something on the spot.
When I was 4 or 5 years old.
Oh, I guess you're just like brilliant genius. Start at 4.
My memory's pretty good.
Can you hear my eye rolls through the microphone? Oh, God. So accountable. It's in preschool.
Well, no, I felt accountable. I had found my mother had hidden a little animal figurine that she was going to give to me for my birthday.
Oh. No.
And I had found it in a drawer. And I wasn't specifically snooping. I wasn't like, I'm gonna find. I had no idea, but I saw it. And I was like, oh, this looks like it's for me. And I remember my mother being not upset with me, but she said, Andrew, that's called snooping, and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I should have said, well, but it was in a drawer in the public common room, Mom. But I didn't have that facility of language. But I felt ashamed. And I think a lot of times, like, when we think about accountability, being held accountable for something is a source of shame, or the residual is shame, that we would feel like I'm accountable for that. And this is something that, for whatever reason, I instead of being a point of pride, I think we usually look at it as something else, as a punishment.
Well,
punitive.
Yes, that we do look at it punitively rather than, because it can be both, and I agree with that. And I think it's interesting that you brought up the topic of shame, because I think we've actually talked about this in one of our episodes before about shame, and to live in like a post-shame culture where I definitely think there's plenty of things that people have been shamed for. I've said this before, that they should not feel ashamed of, like being who you are,
Right.
Sexuality, the way you dress, or the way your body looks, or your gender, or whatever, like things you shouldn't be ashamed of. But the idea that people are also unashamed for the things in their personality, or the things that they do, actual actions or decisions that they make based on completely selfish and self-serving reasons, and then they're like, well, I'm unashamed about that.
Right. That's a coping mechanism for telling yourself it's okay.
Yeah, and that the purpose of shame, like we should be shaming our lawmakers for the fact that, like, goodness. Yet again, this week we have a terrible school shooting, and that scene in War of the Worlds.
Oh, wow.
Not War of the Worlds. Game of Thrones, when Cersei gets shamed through the streets.
Shame.
And there's a woman behind her. Shame.
Yeah. Doesn't turn out well for her.
No, it doesn't.
No.
But so I don't necessarily want to be the person who's like going behind our legislators yelling shame, but the idea that they're immune to it. I don't know if they're just coded in money and are sociopaths, but they just are like, I'm not ashamed of the fact that I have received money from a special interest group that is all about guns and and fiercely defensive about any type of legislation that would actually keep a weapon that I have personally fired, an AR-15, which is an incredibly easy gun to fire. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have a lot of kickback. You can fire multiple rounds even without having to have a bump stock on it. I fired that gun 2 years ago, and I wanted to know, like, I don't like guns. I don't need to personally own one. And I thought it was an incredibly violent experience to shoot like these different types of guns that I shot that day. But the least violent and the easiest gun to shoot is the AR-15. So I understand why it's the weapon of choice of murderers, because it's almost like you're not even doing anything.
Right.
Whereas a revolver, it's actually really violent and there's a lot of kickback. And I mean, anyway, those people are the people that are receiving money from special interest groups that are anti-gun control are shameless.
Yeah.
Shameless in their prioritization of commerce, money, wealth over the lives of fucking children.
Yeah.
Like, not putting aside like innocent concert goers.
Right.
At a concert or at a movie theater, people enjoying togetherness, being gathered around entertainment. This is like, there's something so insidious and wrong, and it's...
Well, the shamelessness of it is the fact that, and if we take it back to the topic,
accountability,
they're not held accountable.
Yeah.
Like, they're not voted out of office. They are, there's very little that is, there's a whole lot for, I think, personal integrity and within the perspective of humanity that you would be like, yeah, you know what? We should probably do something about this.
Yeah, just as a human animal, as a member of the species, where is your sense of preservation of your own species?
Now, this takes me back to this movie. I don't know if you've seen it, Aliens. Yeah. There's this really great moment where Ripley says to Burke, She says, I don't know which species is worse, but at least you don't see them fucking each other over for a percentage.
Yes.
It's a great line, and it's like, because, he wanted to quarantine, he wanted to bring an alien back for study and then for the bioweapon division and all this other stuff. But it's that same type of thing. It's like, that's the weirdest thing about our species, is that we are
self-destructive.
We're self-destructive, and it's not for the promotion of the species. It's not for like, I got to get my DNA out there. It's like, I got to buy a second McMansion because,
it's so warped and perverted and insidious and disgusting.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I want to talk to voters in this midterm election. I want to hear from voters and talk to people who are willing to vote for any lawmaker who doesn't, at this point, just say, okay, enough.
Right.
We have to make actual reform.
This is it.
Because it's not like there's not statistical data that gun control can work. Australia banned assault rifles, didn't they?
Yep.
Like 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and they had a buyback program.
Like 10 years ago, I think. Actually.
And their mass shootings dropped. And like, so there's empirical, am I using that word right?
Empirical.
Empirical evidence and data that shows us that we have the capacity, the intellectual, emotional, and physical capacity to change. But maybe not in this country. And I don't mean that, of course, I'm not like anyone who's listening. I want them to think like I'm wholesale writing off Americans or American culture. I love this country. I'm an American. I want to stay here. I want to be part of the solution. But it is heartbreaking and soul deadening to think, I know how difficult it is to make personal change. And all I can do is that. That's the only thing I can do, and hope that it ripples out and radiates from me outward. But
it's kind of like it's the idea of like, the abusive relationship. Like, got to get out of the abusive relationship, and it's like, I just can't stop. It's like, but and you have your outside people who are like, oh no, that's terrible. But then it's like, people are in love with their guns. They're in love with the system.
That's true. And I think that that's a pretty good actual, I think that's a good analogy to relate it to an addictive, a symptom of an addiction.
Yeah.
And it's the addiction to the principle of the individual extended into guns. Yeah. Because, and I'm from a place where that is like...
Yeah, you're from Texas.
Yeah.
It's like you guys were born with guns.
I mean, you come out with one in your hand.
Yeah, it's grafted onto your body immediately.
It's...
Yeehaw! Pew, 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 pew.
These are actual sound effects being created by Grimm. They're not inserted into the podcast.
I'm sorry, they're not. That's not Texas. The Texas is like, pow, 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 pow. Yeah, steak. Isn't that how it goes?
Steak, and don't let women do what they want. With their bodies.
Any Texas listeners, please don't remember this when we come down there.
We're trying.
Yeah.
Hey, should we listen to some essays?
Let's listen to some essays. Let's start with yours.
Okay.
And then we'll get to mine.
Okay, sounds good. Here's my essay on being accountability, and gun,
fame. And gun control.
No.
Apparently. We're going
I don't think I mentioned a gun at all in this essay, so here's a little bit of a reprieve.
Well, then I'm not going to listen to it.
No, please.
It better have guns in it.
A long time ago, in a place called Texas, I once had an opening gig for a woman named Susan Gibson. I met her again years later at a folk conference, and she was gracious enough to pretend to remember me. Susan had written an amazing song about wide open spaces and having room to make a big mistake that was made into a monster radio hit by a trio of talented performers out of Texas called the Dixie Chicks. In my opinion, both versions of the song are good, but having seen Susan sing her song in a live setting, it had a more atmospheric Texas feel to my ears than the Nashville country pop sound of the Chicks version. Frankly, it is one of those songs that deserve to be a hit for the songwriter and for the performers, and I'm glad it was. I remember seeing the Dixie Chicks perform at the Texas State Fair when they were a bluegrass group, and I was probably around 13 years old. Their evolution through band members and then a change of sound was interesting to watch. When they became famous as the Dixie Chicks, they were more pop than Texas country, and it was fine, but I didn't follow. It was the late 90s, and I had started listening to a lot of Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel and lots and lots and lots of Tori Amos. I also remember the run-up to the invasion of Iraq in 2003. It was a constant in the news cycle, and this was when I personally was still getting my news from television and print news and not primarily through the internet yet. I remember that time being filled with constant talk about weapons of mass destruction, something I'd studied closely in a semester in college in a class called War and Peace in the Nuclear Age. From what I had read of eyewitness accounts, saw in film footage and archival photographs, mass destruction is best experienced as something from our history, something that can never happen again. I've written songs about it, mostly to alleviate my own real anxieties. They are songs as much about self-consolation as they are a personal protest. I feel we're in that age again. A few days before the invasion, the Dixie Chicks were performing in England, and the lead singer, Natalie Maines, said to the audience, "Just so you know, we're on the good side with y'all. We don't want this war, this violence, and we're ashamed that the President of the United States is from Texas." She was talking about George Bush, former governor of Texas, and at that time the president. I remember thinking how great it was that she spoke her mind. In her way, she was speaking truth to power. Her comment prompted a large and long-lasting controversy that became almost instantly comical and absurd. The corporate backlash against the band and their music was intense. Former fans were making piles of their CDs and running bulldozers over them. They lost sponsorships and affiliations with groups they had worked with to promote social good. It was financially and personally devastating for them, but it also redirected their next works, which were focused on maintaining their version of radicalism, centered around a very important American right: free speech.
The Dixie Chicks.
The Dixie Chicks.
Yeah. That's a good essay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I like how every essay that you write, there's always this like, it feels, we've known each other a long time, but it feels like you've lived like 1,000 different lives. Like every essay is like, oh, well then I was in the company of this sort of semi-famous person, and at the crux of a particular moment in time where like there's like some sort of like facet of history that's being created. It's like oh there you have it, you know. And wide open spaces.
Wide open spaces. Huh. Room to make a big mistake.
Yeah,
what a great line.
Well, yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
But yeah, to research the essay, I was thinking about this for a couple of days beforehand, and then I went on the Wikipedia page. Thank you. I do support Wikipedia. Yeah. And I think it's good. Uh-huh. There's some good information.
It's a good starting point.
Exactly.
It's a good starting point.
It's a good starting point for celebrity sex tape that you can search by alphabetical order. Anyway, back to the Dixie Chicks.
I'm still waiting to release mine.
Oh. Everybody's waiting for that one.
Yep.
So the anyway, again with the eye rolling. Dixie Chicks.
Dixie Chicks, yes.
There's a long entrance in the Wikipedia page about what happened after they said that, because the backlash was she issued she issued two apologies. Yeah. She issued a sort of a soft apology where she was like, I shouldn't have said that wasn't nice, but I still believe it. And then like a couple months later, she issued an apology that was like, I didn't mean to be disrespectful to the president and this and that. And he even commented on it. He was like, I mean, George Bush, who now seems like one of like a great statesman and not a buffoon at all, and those halcyon days. Oh,
how low the bar has been lowered.
It's amazing to me to have observed that and to have lived through the Bush years and feel that way. That like, I would love to go back to that. Just also knowing that that Barack Obama was on the horizon. So that's just the way I personally feel. Anyway, reading, like he even said, they have a right to speak their mind. It doesn't matter. He's like, I wasn't offended by it. I wasn't hurt by the fact that they said that.
Right.
And he's like, that's the point of being an American, is that you can say what you want. Yeah. And I think the reason I thought about it in terms of accountability was that she took responsibility for speaking her mind in that moment and exercising her right as an American to comment on the president's decisions. And I thought that at that point, they were 4 years into some like pretty serious getting famous in country music and pop music. And to risk something like that and not even know, I mean, who knows if she knew that she was risking that much. I'm sure that they couldn't have anticipated, because they were in another country. They were in London, and it was literally, I think, 9 days before the invasion of Iraq. And all of us were watching the farce of them convincing us that this is what we needed to do. Yeah. And a lot of people feeling like this seems like a mistake. This, where are the actual, like, where's the yellow cake? Isn't that the yellow cake uranium issue? Like, where actually is it? And it's...
And we created the Coalition of the Willing.
Yes, the Coalition of the Willing. Yeah. I felt like I was in a freaking Star Wars movie watching news and then actually watching the invasion and how it was like a movie. Anyway, for her to stand up and say that in front of a crowd, I just felt was her taking accountability for the way that she felt and using her fame to let the world know that there are Americans who feel accountable to what's about to happen in a foreign country to innocent civilians. Because I think at the end of it, I don't know, and somebody can correct me on this, but the amount of American casualties was in the thousands for military people. Yeah. But the Iraqi people lost like 200,000 lives.
Hundreds of thousands. Yeah.
And so in terms of a balance sheet, they got hit way worse than we did.
Oh, of course.
And it's like, I don't know. I remember thinking of that moment of just being like so proud of her and then being disappointed in that I understood she probably felt like she had to recant in a way and apologize. And, now we're living in a world where if you say something, it's instantly taken out of context and even more difficult. Like, I don't know. There's like things you don't even think about saying now.
And you have that huge distance between people. Like when you let's put a pin in that.
Okay.
And pin. Bump.
Boink. Boink. I like how we have different sounds for a pin. Yours is thunk. Mine's doink.
Doink.
Because when the pin comes down, it goes.
That's our whoa. That's our new band. And doink.
Doink.
That sounds inappropriate. Anyhow, but she's also in her moment of her accountability. She's holding the president accountable, which is, I think that art and artists and the creative crowd there is a responsibility to speak and to say things and to offer up a dialogue, or at least like, well, hey, wait a second, And I think the thing that got her in trouble, if I could put that in air quotes, is that it was a public forum, but they were dead set in the middle of that hardcore mainstream country radio.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, for her to say that, I'm like, yeah, you go, girl. Like, I don't know how it's gonna work for you in your career, because those people don't care about art at all. I mean, no offense to those people who listen to WPOC, but seriously, Luke Bryan is not art.
Well, and a close relative, I remember after that happened, saying to me, I am tired of entertainers mixing politics with entertainment. Yeah. And I don't go to a show to be preached out about somebody's ideas, political ideas. I go to be entertained. And I remember thinking that is the point of artists.
Right.
And you're right. That is the demarcation line between a person who is artistic and creative. Not that I don't want to say that, because I think there's plenty of artistic, creative people who aren't overtly political.
No, but I think that's the whole point of, like, we talked about with our art and commerce. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah.
And, a performer, okay, well, a performer's a performer. They are a tool of the product. And, Do I expect them to have a political opinion in their art? Well, they're not creating art.
Yeah.
They are looking good and dancing or singing pretty and stuff like that. But they didn't write it.
Yeah.
And if they did write it, okay, then let's hear what it sounds like. Here's what they're gonna say. But like Kendrick Lamar, he's an artist.
Yes.
He's got a lot to say.
Yes.
And he's going to be unapologetic. He's going to be unashamed. And he ultimately, from what I understand about him and what I've read about him, what I've heard, is that he is willing to be held accountable for the things that he says.
Yeah.
Just as what he says is holding our culture and our society and our government and the people we interact with accountable for their actions. And I'm sure he doesn't give a shit about his bottom line. And so the stakes aren't, and even, I mean, he's Grammy winning and like all this other stuff, but he also got there by being completely blunt.
Yeah, and
with
being,
what he's saying.
Exactly, and being descriptive, observational, and
right,
and speaking truth to power about like things. Because you and I were listening to his song "I" this morning, and there's a lot of discussion about depression and him coming through this idea that he felt, I don't know what he felt, but he's describing coming from a culture that is hyper masculine and doesn't allow you to experience depression or be sensitive.
Right.
And
because it's a weakness.
Yeah. And it was just, every time I hear that song, I just think I love that he wrote a song for himself about, I love myself and it doesn't matter what the world is doing. I love myself for these reasons. But I'm also going to explain to you why I have to say it so loudly and in this way, because I've been told by the culture to not love myself because I'm black or this or that or female or poor or whatever reason that you have been told that you're not worthy of care. I can also, I feel like in this topic, it was hard to pin down what I wanted to write about because there's a lot. There's that Chinese artist whose name I'm going to mispronounce, who's been jailed.
Oh, Ai Weiwei.
Yeah, for political art, protest art, and but then also holding famous people accountable for the excesses of their experience, maybe too. Like I was thinking about that. I was just like, how would I don't know. There's a lot more that we could have explored with this, that I personally could have explored with this essay. Are you ready for yours?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I am so ready.
I'm ready to hear it.
So prepared. Oh boy. All right. Here we go. I believe in paying my fair share of taxes because at my core, I believe wholly in community and contributing to a collective society. Whether or not I have children, I want all children to be educated because someday they will become adults, and I need them to be thinking independently. So even though the drive to contribute isn't exactly direct, it becomes more of a long game situation. So, every year around this time, I rummage through my house looking for scraps of paper containing assorted numbers. Some of these numbers bear significance as purchases of food, gear, parking fees, dry cleaning, printing costs, studio time, rehearsal spaces. I'm not really good at streamlining a centralized system of organization for these miniature golden tickets, but despite that deficiency, I gather those tickets to crunch some numbers. I travel 25 miles. I transfer the figures to a certified public accountant. I wait patiently for 45 minutes. Then I rejoice at the news that according to his government-ordained professional opinion, I have made a particular amount of money and that the government needs to return some of the money they borrowed from me. In other words, my year was financially successful. Or maybe it wasn't so successful. But that's all right. Being accountable is all about accepting the responsibility of your choices. In this case, how I chose to make my money and how I spent that money has very little to do with success.
It is funny, though, that we pay someone to certify our declaration of earnings and losses during a fiscal year. A deeper dive into this perspective of accountability reveals to me what I did with my life for that year. As I comb through my calendar, assessing the money I earned at shows and recalculating my mileage, I think about the shows that I played, which were good and which were bad. It is an accounting of my choices, what songs I played, whom I played to, and whom I did not. As I look over the receipts from traveling, a slow and sweet montage plays back, full of gas station coffee and late-night browsing through the truck stop shopping sections, wondering whether anyone is fooling anyone when advertising an aluminum billy club as a tire tester, when really all I can see myself using it for is a weapon in defense. Clicking on my calculator and the tabulation of expenses adds up. Every receipt contains the date and the distance from home, and in many cases, the time I shared with people in travel and destination. And although some shows may be disappointing, none of my memories are. Every single one of those images is punctuated with a smile or some type of funny story. As I write this, I have just returned from a 4-day tour with June Star, and everything I just said is true. It is true. It is true. We only made $60, but we traveled 800 miles. We ate barbecue, and I had a bread donut pudding that stopped me in my tracks. Right now, I'm preparing for a 16-date tour with my good friend Ellen Cherry. We've toured before, and we always seem to have a good time. There is much humor to find in a Dunkin' Donuts outside of Danbury, and someone's blood sugar needs a spike. I so look forward to hitting the road this year. And I look forward to doing my taxes next year. To hold myself financially accountable for this lifestyle and job I have chosen. Really, I look forward to reliving the next year, one receipt at a time.
Okay, so an actual accounting.
An actual accounting, yes. It's all about the taxes.
The beginning of your essay definitely about the the accounting of your year.
Yeah.
And the accountability of your experience to yourself, illustrated by all these, like, I love the term golden tickets.
Yeah.
Because the golden tickets that he's referring to are our deductions.
Our deductions, that's right.
Because that's what helps us survive. I don't think people realize this, but I am a human female that eats food. You're a human male who eats food, and also we both live indoors, which is just incredible and awesome, and have been able to maintain that for ourselves.
With running water.
With running water and heat. It's kind of, but the only way that we can do that is by really being vigilant as independent artists about our expenses, and that you don't get paid for that time. But it's just as important to the ability to create music, because you have to, I don't know, I'm just rambling.
Well, but it seems like, when I started doing the music full time and talking about money and stuff like that, and the one thing that I really liked about it, I never really thought about, I don't really think, I'm sorry, Meg is being on
Meg. He always does this.
I know.
He's jealous of our podcasting.
He is. He's like, this is Mig time. Where's my Mig cast? Anyhow, but I always looked at my taxes as like, well, I'm going to do the easy, 1004 or whatever.
1040.
1040.
Yeah. Easy.
And be done with it. And then when I started playing music, because I'm not good at filing all of my receipts. I mean, they're in 3 separate places in my house, and I know where the little gold mines are.
Yeah.
So I go in there and I dig all that stuff out, and it takes me about 2 hours to kind of sort it all out.
Yeah.
And then tally it up. And then I'm looking at the cyber thing I talked about is my calendar.
Yeah.
I go to my Google Calendar where I record all my gigs.
So you can calculate your mileage.
And I calculate all my mileage. And then I start thinking about that gig. Oh, that's right. And then I suddenly have this I don't want to say nostalgic, but
it's a diary basically of your year.
Yeah.
It's the evidence of your existence.
Yeah.
And your process and your projects and your progress.
Right. And it's like, wow, this is, and in a lot of ways that accountability through taxes is also me kind of feeling like, how am I accounting for my year, my own personal growth?
Yeah.
And I always really...
And how you spend the only thing we really have, which is time.
Right. So...
Quite poignant.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how it works. I'm not very exciting today. I really feel like I was like, my energy, I don't know.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Now there's a warm cat
in your lap.
in my lap. And he's acting like a jerk.
Well, let's we can circle back to this at another time.
Right.
I think we have fulfilled our obligation talking, and
we've only been talking for 30 minutes.
Oh no, this is going to be like a short podcast.
This is a short podcast. Well, we could talk about other things though. Well, okay, accountability. Let's talk about accountability and what is the artist's accountability for legacy? Like, that's stupid. Who am I kidding? I'm grasping at straws here with that.
Let's talk about the tour.
Okay, yeah.
So we are bumping up against we're going to be on the road in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Yes.
Our GoFundMe page is about half fulfilled.
Half fulfilled.
So if anyone's listening to this and you want to pull the plug, any amount of money will help us buy food, sleep indoors
with running water.
With running water while we're on tour. And the most important thing is that noise you're hearing is a cat literally walking in front of Grimm's microphone.
Oh man.
Come on, Mig.
Mig.
He is being a little bit pushy.
Yeah.
We're doing good, and I'm excited about that. We're still looking. There's like 3 holes in the schedule that would be groovy to fill, but if not, I will just wander about.
Open mic.
And we'll go to open mics, and we'll meet some people, and we'll. He's being so cute. Oh, sweet Mig. I'm gonna post a picture of him because he's so cute. So, yeah, I'm excited about the tour.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going well. And we're going to be doing personal podcasting on the tour.
Yep.
For the supporters, which means I will be soliciting what topic you would like us to discuss, and then we will discuss it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah. That sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
And what are your goals for the tour? Like what?
I know what your goal is. It's like total setup. What are my goals for the tour?
Yeah.
To play well, I'm really looking forward to this because I think that first of all, I've done so much solo touring,
mm-hmm.
and it is great, but to be able to go with you and the two of us to be together to support each other and just have friendship on the road, mm-hmm. and somebody to see things with and to share the shows with, it's really, I'm looking forward to that part of it a lot. So my goal is to just enjoy the time, and to do some writing and thinking. And my goal is really just to see stuff and to reconnect with people too. Like, I haven't seen Matt Monta in a year.
It has been a year.
Yeah. I haven't seen Steve Dawson in a long time, so that'd be cool to see him.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that that I haven't met yet in cities that I don't think I've ever played my own original music in Detroit. I've only ever performed in Detroit as part of a puppet troupe.
Yeah.
So this will be my first non-puppet performance in Detroit, Michigan. I've performed in Ann Arbor, but not in Detroit. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Detroit's awesome. Old Dupe.
Getting some Slows barbecue. Going possibly to the DIA if we have time, and looking at Diego's Rivera's.
I think we have time.
Yeah.
I think because we're just in we're in Cleveland. Oh, well, we're in Columbus the night before.
Yeah.
But it's like a 4-hour drive or something, a 3-hour drive.
Nice.
So we can get up there early in the day and go check it out.
So I don't know if I have goals as much as my goal is to really enjoy it. And there have been a lot of changes in my life in the last couple of months, and there's a big one coming right after we get back from tour. So that's exciting. I'm becoming a fish.
I was gonna ask you about those gills.
I've been working on it. Gonna be a full-time
Your skin
swimmer.
seems a lot scalier than,
Thanks.
than usual.
Thanks. I've been working on that too. Getting ready to just be a full-time swimmer forever. Giving up the music biz, it's just become a fish.
Yep. Meg is becoming a popcorn shrimp.
Oh, what are your goals?
Well, you already discovered via the Corridor cast
Yes.
that my goal is to one-up you
Every night.
every night.
You jerk.
Yeah, I'm playing 5 core songs every night, the same 5 songs every night, but then I'm only doing 10-song sets for whatever shows we have. You know, that's the maximum I'm going to play.
Oh, really?
Yep.
What if it's longer? What if we have longer space?
We don't have longer space.
Okay.
I don't think there's any gig that we actually have like really long. Maybe the Wake Forest show,
Okay.
the Sugar Magnolia Cafe.
Well, I still have a couple weeks, so I can try to one-up you in some way.
But yeah, all my other, I'm challenging myself to play songs I haven't played in about 8 years.
Cool.
And so it's going to be a different set every night, except for the 5 core songs. But I think I also want to record all of them and then dump them into Bandcamp for subscription stuff.
Oh, that's a good idea.
You know, try to do a live thing, a live retrospective type of thing.
Cool.
That'd be kind of cool. I think my goals really are kind of, you know, enjoy the road. It is true that, like, you know, heading out on the road with you is easier than heading out by yourself. And then also the band dynamics, which June Star just did a short run of shows, which was really good. It was a really good time. We had really good shows, and Mig is shameless in his.
He's so cute. Okay, we gotta
Okay.
talk. People
All right.
are listening.
People are listening, and we're getting really quiet as you take a picture of Mig
Oh.
in all his glory. But yeah, and I think the travel aspect too.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, you don't have to do all the driving, but you know, we're gonna listen to some music, and we're gonna listen to the Night Vale podcast.
I haven't heard this one.
I've heard nothing but great things about it. And they're short episodes, but they're all narrative types of things about a fictional town.
Oh, cool.
So it seems like it's going to be really good. So,
Have you heard S-Town? Did you listen to S-Town?
No, I did not.
Oh, man, I would listen to that one again. It's only like 7 episodes, but it's really good.
That's cool.
So we can listen to that.
And since we're in the Honda Fit that has the Bluetooth now, it's like you don't have to worry about how you set it up or anything like that.
Nice.
So it's all good. Yeah, so those are my goals. You know, have a good time. Blow you out of the water at each set.
Thanks. It's not aggressive sounding at all.
No.
I'm going to show Ellen Cherry up every night.
I'm going to play Ellen Cherry sets.
What do you think I'm going to be studying for the next 2 weeks?
I'm going to be opening up with.
Now that I know that what your 5 core songs are,
Right.
If I play first, this is
Well-
a song about love by Andrew Grimm.
Oh, you already-
This is a song
you
about
read
love by
love.
Andrew Grimm. This is a song about love by Andrew Grimm.
Well, we do have to, because I am going to play If I at some point.
Sweet.
And so I have to practice that because
Yeah, because my version is pretty much the bomb now.
it's the definitive version.
It is the definitive version. It totally is. So next week's topic is blank,
It's blank.
which
It's a
means
free form.
we can talk about blankness and
We
fame.
can talk about whatever we want.
Okay.
We can talk about Mig.
You're just stalling because you think that we should do a normal hour-long episode.
Yeah.
Why didn't we have as much to talk about today?
I don't know. Well, I think the national, the atmosphere of where we are right now, it's
Vexing.
That anxiety, that low grade, slow burning anxiety we've been feeling is now starting to creep up,
Yeah.
you know, and then the school shooting, and it's hard to kind of maintain a focus on that. And all our worlds are colliding in those ways. So
Yes.
it's tough.
So do you think, because you've been much more informed than I have about what's been going on, but because you actually told me about yesterday, one of the kids that survived the school shooting was speaking on NPR yesterday.
Yeah.
And said that, what's his name? Marco Rubio and
Rick Scott, the
governor of Florida, he's just like, I'm going to personally end your tenure as leaders.
You guys are finished.
Yeah. And to hear that kind of passion, I hate that it was, prompted by tragedy. I mean, like, that is such a tiny word to describe the tsunami of grief that people feel.
Yeah.
And even people like us who are at a distance, it is a wave of grief about this again. And I want somebody to be accountable for it.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how amazing it would be for a senator to say, I am responsible for this.
Yep.
And I'm going to stand up here, money be damned. This is what I really actually believe in, and have a fucking spine.
Yep.
And the difference that would make, because it's not going to come from top down.
No. It's got to come from the people. The people have to vote people out and have to say no.
But there's plenty of people that are senators that are not, right? Aren't there? They don't make the news because they're not total jerks. Then can't they stand up? Like, aren't they supposed to be representing us? I don't know. I'm too busy trying to float my own boat that I'm like, I can't even. This cat is insane, totally. You're losing us listeners, Mig, because you're distracting us from even focusing on what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah. Well, we got some purring in there too. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was all worth it.
I guess.
Well, let's talk about our musical guest.
Oh
week.
yes, that's right. Okay, so I chose Brooks Long and the Mad Dog No Goods song "Heavy Petting," which I think is a great track. And
So I don't want to be inappropriate, but that is what's happening right now.
there's some heavy petting
There's
with
some heavy
Meg right
petting,
now.
yeah.
That is
He's
some pretty
getting
heavy
it.
petting.
He's getting a head scratch.
I met Brooks a couple of years ago. He, I think he's a really talented songwriter, and he's a super nice person. His band is incredible too. Dan Samuels, I believe, is playing percussion. Ian Tressheim, I think I'm saying his last name not perfectly, but good. I don't know why I just totally like Donald Trump was just like, I'm saying that last name perfectly. That's your last name. I just said it tremendously.
Tremendous. I have all the best pronunciations.
That's what I meant to say. I have all the best pronunciation. Anyway, I think that's who is in this band in this recording, but I'm not sure. Anyway, the lead singer is Brooks Long. He's a Baltimore-based musician, and he has a great sense of humor about his songwriting. He also has a great voice, and he put together. There was a label in Baltimore whose name, I've forgotten the label now. I think it's Rujak Records. And they had a retrospective in, I want to say October, at the Arch Social Club in Southwest Baltimore. And it was so cool to go over there. Brooks and a couple other people organized this show. And they had young players on stage with these guys that had hits on this record label in Baltimore in the 60s. And it was really, really cool just to see them perform their songs. 'Cause they're still alive in this social club, which is a great social club. And I'm hoping that I'll get invited to go back, because I'm pretty sure you have to get invited by a member to go back. So I would love to attend another show there.
That sounds cool.
As a guest. It was really, really cool. And Brooks was emceeing, and I'm pretty sure he put that whole showcase together. So yeah, he's a mover and shaker here in Baltimore, and just an all-around nice guy. I featured him on my webcast a couple of years ago, Listen In with Ellen Cherry, and I just thought he was fantastic. We had a wonderful conversation before and after, and I think you should enjoy Heavy Petting.
Yes, everyone should enjoy Heavy Petting.
Everyone should enjoy some heavy petting.
Okay, we get it.
Hello kitten, are you into heavy petting? Turn it on and drop the needle. Let's make out to Otis Redding. I heard you snap hearts like a toothpick. I wanna show you how strong my love is. Hello kitten, are you into heavy petting? Turn it on and drop the needle. Let's make out to Otis Redding. She said, I love the way you please for it. Sounds like he's down on his knees for it. Now you see what I got to deal with. All of hurts, it ain't a secret. Some fellas wish that she would keep it, but I know what the deal is, man. No practicing, no preaching, come on. I've been playing the field so
think that's the first time you've heard that song,
This
right?
is the first time I've heard that song.
It's so
Ooh.
it's so humorous
It's humorous, but it's really I really like it. I think
and
it's-
well written.
Yeah, very well written, and it's not a song that you would like contemporary wise. It's unique to what people are writing about, because people aren't writing about heavy petting much.
Yes.
And not in a way that's, because it's kind of sly, but at the same time it's kind of overt.
Yeah.
But it's also, there's a wink and a nod to all the things that are going on.
Yeah.
And I like how like he starts off like really cool, like really, it's all right, hey, it's okay, and then like halfway to 3/4 of the way through, like whoa,
It's like it's kind of. Yeah,
like-
sorry, I just did the same thing.
Yeah, it's okay.
Busted out your mic
Yeah.
again. No, I love the climax of Need. The climax of Need.
The climax of Need. That sounds like a record title.
I remember him performing that on the webcast, and I had seen him perform it before, I don't know, at Creative Alliance or something, and I just thought it was a brilliant song and funny and sweet, and his delivery is really good. And even I haven't listened to the recording very much because I know the song and have heard it live, but he's got a little bit of a Michael Jackson kind of voice, and he's got a lot of control, and there's a lot of stuff flowing by really fast in there that he has great control over notes. And to go into that, like screaming falsetto and to have that much control and be in tune is incredible. Like a really talented singer.
Yes.
Great band too.
Nope, totally agree.
Yeah. So it
Production's really good on it too.
should be famous.
Should be.
And I love the classic sound. It's not reductive at all. It's like people who are Brooks really has honored that sound too. I don't know what you would call that. Is it a doo-wop sound?
Kind of like a doo-woppy Motown Stax.
Yeah, Motown Stax kind of sound. And that's I believe it's Root Jack Records. I'd have to look it up, but there's a lot of that sound that he was curating in that showcase too. So he's definitely in it. And he's a nice person.
Yes, he's nice. I ran sound for him a couple times
Yeah.
in a previous life.
Nice. At a previous location, which shall not be named.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Got to be who you got to be. Got to have what you got to have.
Yes.
For me, it's grounded electricity. Got to have it.
Good.
So, anyhow, okay. Well, here we are. We're winding down. We've talked about the tour. We talked about accountability. We've
Featured a song.
we've talked about gun control.
We've petted the cat.
we have
We've
petted-
heavily petted the cat.
yes, who still insisted on jumping up on the computer. Anyhow, I don't know
It's
what.
full of contradictions.
I don't know what he just did, but he did something.
Oh no.
Oh, it was your essay. That's what.
He deleted it.
I don't think he deleted it, but I think he got close.
It's fine. Anyway, so where can we find your materials?
You can find my stuff at junestar.com. That's JUNESTAR.com.
And if I wanted to support you month to month, which I am,
Uh-huh.
for a mere $5 a month, which means I receive all of your back catalog
Yes.
and
the whole enchilada.
everything new that
And
you
cheese.
create.
Extra cheese.
Yes. Where would I find that?
You would find that at junestar.bandcamp.com/subscribe.
Nice.
And we just sold a Sleeping with the Lights On digital download yesterday.
Nice.
$10.
What?
Boom. In my pocket.
Thank you, supporter.
Yep. And it was somebody I didn't know.
That's always a thrill.
Right. So I looked them up on Facebook and started stalking.
And you're like, we will be friends.
We will be friends. Is it too early? Too soon? Yeah. So, well, Ellen Cherry, what about you? Let's just say that I'm going through BaltimoreBands.net, and I'm looking for somebody who I need to open a show for me at Mom's in 2004.
I thought it was 2003. It was 2004? You think it was 2004?
I think it's 2004.
You would find me, and you could find me back then too, although it was not. I do need to revamp my
Is there
website.
any way we can find out what that show was?
Who knows? I have to look back through calendars, paper calendars at that point. EllenCherry.com. EllenCherry.com.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a subscription service.
You do, and it's so good. I subscribed to it twice. I haven't deleted my second subscription yet.
What? Why not?
I don't know.
That's generous.
Well, what kind of stuff are you putting on your subscription?
I haven't posted February stuff yet. I need to do that. I've been writing a couple songs for FOM, February album writing month.
Oh yeah, I'm doing that too.
You are doing it. You're killing it. And I'm gonna record at least one of those songs for my subscription service, and probably two of them. I try to offer 2 items a month, and for $4, and that's at ellencherry.bandcamp.com.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you can find tour information at whyaren'tyoufamous.org.
And we have a GoFundMe.
And we have a GoFundMe page, which is gofundme.com/ capital Y. WAYF lowercase tour. Man, I can't even spell it. Anyway,
neither can I.
The point is, just find us on Facebook. You'll see it. Or search us on GoFundMe. We would love to have your money so we can buy coffee in hotels.
Oh, coffee, hotels, running water.
Yes. It's going to be fun. We're creeping closer. This is episode
18. No, it's 19.
19. This is episode 19.
Dang.
You can by now have
the season's almost over.
Spent 19 hours of your precious life minutes. Wow.
And we're not any closer to being famous.
Oh, I do. I hope not.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. Is there a test you can take to make sure you don't have fame? We're passing with flying colors. On March 24th.
It's a urine test. Absolutely zero fame.
Results are negative.
Yep.
On March 24th, you and I will be performing with Matt Monta at the 4-Hour Day Lutherie here in Baltimore.
And live.
And we are recording for an hour before the show from 6 to 7 p.m. We will be recording our final podcast of this season 1 of Why Aren't You Famous podcast. And so please join us. There's seats for about 60 people there. It would be awesome to have you in the audience, and you can attend a live taping of the podcast. So I'll be posting those events on Facebook really soon, and I'll figure out how to put them on the website. I haven't done that yet, but maybe that's what I'm going to do tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
Or just watch movies. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
That's right. You can, because you have my HBO access.
Don't say things like that into the microphone, man.
They don't care.
They frown on us sharing things communally, okay?
Okay, comrade.
Comrade Grimm.
Comrade Cherry.
Yes. Say it correctly.
Yes, I will. Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right, we'll catch you later.
Now I'm worried.
Yeah, here we go.
Hope nobody's listening to this.
Yeah. The evil Moogles at HBO.
Don't worry.
All right, take care. We'll see you next time.
See ya, bye. You dirty bastard.